Hello everyone, this is Teo from ParkerBlocks.com. Today this video I'll be talking about fountain pens, and specifically fountain pens for drawing purposes. Now this video is for beginners or artists who are looking to find a fountain pen for drawing. Now in this video I'll be covering what is a fountain pen, the different parts of the fountain pen, how you maintain the fountain pen, what ink you choose, and I'll give you some recommendations on what fountain pens to get. So let's go right into it. This is a fountain pen. A fountain pen is basically a nib pen with an ink reservoir. So this is the nib, this shiny part here at the top. You can see some ink coming out. And let me open it up to show you the ink reservoir behind. So this is called the converter, and you use it to fill it up with ink, and the ink will be supplied through the feed, which is this black part here, and then it will flow through the nib and the ink will come out. So that's all there is to a fountain pen. I'll talk about the individual parts more specifically later. Let me show you some variations of the fountain pen. Some of the caps are the twist type of cap, and some are actually the caps that you can just pull it off. So this is also a fountain pen. This is one made by Pilot. This is a disposable fountain pen. The same thing, you can see that we have a metal nib at the top. We have the feet here. And then there's the ink reservoir just below here. So this one is a disposable one. This one is a dip pen. So this one is not a fountain pen, but this one has a nib, metal pen nib to the top also. It's not a fountain pen because there's no ink reservoir behind. And so what you need to know about fountain pen is it comes with a pen nib, the feet, and the ink reservoir behind. Alright, let's talk about the different parts now. Let's take a closer look at the different type of nibs. So the nibs are usually made of some sort of metal. These two would be made of steel, stainless steel, so that they don't rust, and this one is made of some gold alloy. The more common types of gold alloy would be the 14K, 18K, and 21K. They do not use pure gold to make the nibs. So different metal will have different characteristics. For example, the steel nibs would be stiffer, and some of the gold nibs tend to be a bit softer, so you can get a bit more variations to the line strokes when you're using them for drawing purposes. And some of the nibs can also be plated. For example, the nibs, let me just take a look at this one. For example, these two fountain pens, these are the Pelican M200 fountain pens. So this one is actually a steel nib, but it's gold plated. So the nibs can be plated as well for aesthetic purposes. The first tip I want to give you on buying fountain pens is when you're starting out, do not spend too much money on a fountain pen. I will say do not spend more than $50. There are some very good fountain pens that you can buy for just less than $30. Now the reason is because some of these fountain pens can get quite a bit expensive, and there's not going to be much difference when it comes to drawing. So the difference in the fountain pens mainly comes from the tip. And let me just show you the different types of tips that are available. So let me just show you this one first. This is a fine nib. Fountain pens usually come in extra fine, fine, medium. then they have the broad, and then there will be other specialty nibs such as this one. This one is called a falcon nib. This one flexes a bit so you can get thin and thick lines. This one is a music nib, so this one gives you a vertical broad stroke and a horizontal thin stroke. This one is a fude nib, so you can see that the nib here is bent a bit. And this one is a sailor fountain pen. This one is a music nib also, but this one gives a different variation. So let's take a piece of paper and show you the difference. So this is a Pelican M200. This one features a fine nib. A fine, medium, or extra fine or broad nibs, they all give uniform strokes. So the line do not vary that much. You can see that the thickness of the line is constant in all the horizontal strokes. And if you were to draw vertical strokes, you can see that the lines are also uniform. So this is a very predictable fountain pen, and I like it for its predictability. So let me cap this one and show you the other one. This is a Namiki Falcon pen. So you can see that this one has a slightly sharper nib, and if you apply a bit pressure on it, this one starts off with a fine one, but if you apply more pressure to it, you can see that it gives out a thicker stroke. But so when you are applying pressure, you should apply pressure on the downward stroke and not on the side stroke. So if you are drawing it horizontal lines, and the lines are going to be uniform, but if you are drawing downwards, you have the option to press it slightly harder to get a thicker stroke. So that's the characteristics of this falcon nib. Then this is also a specialty nib. This is called a music nib. There's no ink inside. Let me put some ink. This one will give you a broad vertical stroke and a thin horizontal stroke. That's just because the way the nib is designed. The nib is something like this. So there's this breather hole here, but you can see that this top part here is quite broad as compared to fine fountain pen, which is something like this, which has a sharp point. So for beginners, I do not recommend buying the music nib because it's quite challenging to draw with, and it's not very cheap as well, so it might not be worth the money. For beginners, I would suggest you to get the medium or the fine fountain pen. This is a fude nib. This is a specialty nib as well. You see it in some of the sailor pens. This is actually a sailor fountain pen. Sailor is a company from Japan. This is also a fude nib. This is from their beginner series. This one I got it inside a box called My First. So it comes with two nibs, and this one is a plastic body, and this one is some more expensive body. This is a steel nib, and this is a gold alloy nib. So but you can still see that this is a bent version. So this one is much cheaper. I think this is only under $30. This one is a few $100s. And again, do not spend too much money on fountain pens when you are just starting out. So Sailor makes some of the fude nibs. You can get the fude nib from this Chinese manufacturer called Hero, Hero. So this one you can buy on eBay. It's under $20 as well, inclusive of shipping. So let me show you some of the nibs, the line variations that can come out from this nib. Cap it on. Always remember to cap your ink bottles. so that if they topple, at least the ink won't come out. Okay, this is a Fude nib, and you can get broad strokes. Depending on how you hold the fountain pen, you can get thin strokes as well. So you can get thin to broad and thin to broad. So that's very nice, but if you want to buy the Fude nib, I would suggest you get the Sailor My First. I've also reviewed some of the fountain pens on my website. I'll post the links in the description below. You can check them out. Another specialty nib I want to show you is this one. This one is also called a music nib. This is called a cross music nib. This is also a few. This one is quite expensive as well. The difference between this music nib and this music nib is this one gives you a vertical broad stroke, horizontal thin stroke, and this one gives you a vertical thin stroke, horizontal broad stroke. So the music nib is called such because they were designed, I think, for musicians to write their musical notes. Or at least that's what I read it, so it's easy to write music notes like that. But the more common nibs that you will find online or at fountain pen shops would be the extra fine, fine, and medium. So if you are a beginner, I suggest going with the fine if you like thinner strokes, or you can go for the medium if you like a bit thicker strokes. So now that we have covered the nib, let's talk about the feed. Now the feed is what provides the nib with the ink. So this particular fountain pen is the Twist B530. I just want to choose this fountain pen to show you the feed. Let me just pull out the feed. Please note that before you detach your fountain pen, please go online to find out whether or not your fountain pen can be detached, because some fountain pens cannot be detached like that. So we have the nib here on top of the feed, which is below. It's just some sort of plastic thing, so the ink will just flow through and gets regulated by the feed and then flows onto the nib. There's nothing much to it. I'll talk more about that on the maintenance part later on. So let me put this back in. Okay, let's go down further to the fountain pen, and this one has a transparent. Fountain pens come in all sorts of different colored bodies, transparent or yellow, blue, black. The most common one would be black. So this one is a transparent one. This one is from Lamy. Let's talk about the ink converter. So the ink converter is basically something to hold the ink. So this one uses a twist type piston. I mean, you can put this out. So this is a converter that you will want to use if you want to refill your fountain pen with ink of your own choice. And different brands will come with different converters, so they are not interchangeable. So this is a box of converters that I have. So let's take a look at some of the different converters. This one I believe is if I remember correctly, this one is a pilot converter. So sometimes they have this little thing inside to move the ink around. This one uses a twist action as well. This converter is the platinum converter. So this is made by the company called Platinum. This one uses a twist action as well. This one is made by Pilot. You can see that the size of this converter versus the size of this converter. So before you buy a correct converter, make sure that it can fit your pen. Okay, let me show you another type of converter. This one is this is a Hero pen. So this one uses the piston converter. So instead of the twisting mechanism, you have the push and pull mechanism. So converters come in all shapes and sizes. The main thing you want to note is if you are buying a Sailor fountain pen, for example, then you should get a Sailor converter. If you're buying a Lamy fountain pen, then you should get a Lamy. So you cannot switch different brands of converter onto different brands of pens. There are also disposable converters. This would be a disposable cartridge. And some of the converters are actually built into the pen itself. For example, this is a Pilot, what is this? Pilot Custom Heritage 92 fountain pen. So the converter is built into the pen body itself. So you can see that this is a twist type converter at the back of this body. This is quite convenient. So every time you refill the fountain pen, you don't have to detach the body section. You can just use it. This is a bit more expensive, but it's a bit more convenient. So let me show you another type of converter. This is also an inbuilt converter. So this one uses a piston, a vacuum suction mechanism to fill in. Basically, you pull the piston out and then you push it back in, and it will somehow create a vacuum. So when you release the vacuum, the ink will get sucked into the fountain pen. This is not a pen that I like a lot because it's quite big. I prefer pens that are smaller and lighter. This one is quite big and a bit heavy for me, so that's one of the considerations to take note when you are trying to buy a fountain pen, whether to get a metallic pen, a heavy body, a plastic body, or a smaller body versus a large body. So it really depends on your hand size and your personal preference. Let's move on to fountain pen inks. For drawing purposes, I will classify fountain pen ink into two types, waterproof and not waterproof. So the one that I commonly use, for drawing purposes, I would prefer to use waterproof ink because I like to apply watercolor onto the ink when the ink has dried. So the brand that I use most frequently would be the Noodler's black ink. This is a 90 ml bottle that I imported from USA. It seems that they only sell this in USA. So this is a water-based ink, but it's waterproof when it dries. And this is a fountain pen ink. Well, these two are both fountain pen inks. When in doubt, you should always treat fountain pen inks as not waterproof unless they specifically say that it is waterproof. So this Takesumi is made by Pilot from Japan. They make this specially for fountain pens, and this is a black ink, but this is not waterproof. So be careful when you're using this ink for mixed media work. So I will not use this ink if I want to do pen and ink with watercolor. This is a Sumi ink. This is like those ink that has grind from those ink sticks and then they add a bit of water. This one is not waterproof. I know some variations are waterproof, but this one is not. So why is some why are some inks waterproof and some ink not? I'm not too sure actually, but what you need to know about all this ink is they are actually carbon particles that are grinded into very fine particles. So some of these ink, they will fuse with your paper to form a permanent relationship. So when it dries, the ink is waterproof. This one is made by platinum. This one is waterproof as well. You may come across inks that say that they are Indian black or they are black Indian ink. India ink is a type of waterproof ink for drawing, but as I've said earlier, not all inks are waterproof. I've tried Indian ink that are not waterproof as well. So before you use it in your fountain pen, actually you should not use Indian black ink in your fountain pen because the carbon pigments are not ground as fine as, let's say, this noodles ink here. So they may choke your pen, and you may really have to dismantle a pen for cleaning. So India ink is not something that you will want to use in your fountain pen. So when you are looking for inks to buy, make sure that the ink is safe for fountain pen usage. So for example, this is Sumi ink as ground from the ink stick, and they have some large ink particles that may not have been ground as fine. So if you are going to be putting it inside this fountain pen, those particles are going to choke your fountain pen, and after a while you'll find that the ink flow will be affected and the ink stops flowing. So that's the reason. And if you are using this type of ink on inside expensive fountain pens, it could damage or potentially destroy your fountain pens. So personally, the inks that I recommend would be the Noodles Black, Platinum Carbon ink, and the other one is the Sailor Kiwaguru. These three inks are all waterproof and they are supposedly safe for fountain pen usage. Alright, let me show you how to refill a fountain pen. Let me use this fountain pen. Basically, you just dip the whole pen inside. Make sure that the ink covers all the way to this part. So to make sure that the ink goes above this part, so that when you suck the ink up, you're not sucking the air up. So for example, this fountain pen uses the twist corn mechanism. So let me just push out. Oops. Let me show you how to refill a fountain pen. So this is a Pelican M200. You can see that there's not much ink left inside. So this pen uses a built-in ink converter. And before you start refilling the ink, make sure that you have some tissue or paper towels around so that you can clean up easily. When you dip your fountain pen inside the ink, make sure that the ink covers above the nib so that when you suck the ink up, you are not actually sucking the air up. So let me put it all the way in and let me twist it. Oh, now I'm pushing the piston down and now I'm pulling the piston up. I'm not sure if you can see it. So, and there it is. It's filled up already. So make sure to clean up the fountain pen. So, yep, it's that simple. Let me show you one with a converter. This is a Sailor fountain pen. This one comes with a converter. I know some when I first started using a fountain pen, I would take out the converter and then put it inside to suck the ink back up. What I realized over time is when you do that and when you put it back into your fountain pen, sometimes it may damage the feed inside because there's always the pushing and pulling. Actually, I've damaged a few cheap fountain pens before. So nowadays when I fill the ink, I would just fill it like this with the converter and attached to the feed itself. Same mechanism as well. So just after you put it into the ink, make sure the ink covers the nib and then turn the converter to pull the ink up. See, the ink has now been drawn up the converter. As usual, always cap your ink bottle, clean the nib as well as the grip section because the ink will get to the grip section as well. And that's all to filling our fountain pen. Let's talk a bit about fountain pen maintenance or how you can clean your fountain pen. So try to clean it as once a month or twice a month, depending on how often you use your fountain pens. If you use it like frequently, then maybe it does not require that much cleaning because the ink is always flowing. But I try to make it a habit to clean my pens once a month. So how do you clean your pen? Before you clean your pen, make sure to go online to find out find out more about your pen, whether or not your pen can be detached. So for example, this is pilot pen. Some of the pilot pens you can detach their nibs and feet. For example, this one I can just simply twist it out so you can see the metal nib and the feet. And for this particular one, I'm unable to dismantle it any further. So, but it's good enough for me to basically clean the feet section if there's any clogging. I'll just run it under running water and then maybe use a brush to brush off the parts. So you cannot really fully dismantle this particular pen. Let me take a look at this pen. This one cannot. This one, for example, the metal nib is actually stuck to the feed itself, so you cannot. You can detach this as a unit, but that's about all you can do. Oh, the pilot pen, you can actually detach the nib from the feed. See, so it's convenient that way. And for this one is a Lemmy Safari. So this one you can pull out the nib. Let me it's quite difficult to pull out the nib, I think. But anyway, you can just pull out the nib. For some fountain pens, you are not able to pull out the nib, so you will just have to basically put it under running water. Usually I would just put it into the water and then I will suck the water in and out a few times to push the water through the feed to make sure that all the ink particles get flushed out. So this is one that you cannot detach as compared to other fountain pens. But that's pretty much all there is to maintenance. And for really tricky pens that are really clogged, you might want to get a fountain pen cleaning solution. There's this fountain pen cleaning solution that is made by Rotring. It's this brand here, Rotring, Rotring. So they make a fountain. It's actually an ink cleaning solution or something. I've reviewed it before. The link is in the description right below this video. Anyway, for those tricky ink clogs, you can pour some solution into a container and then just basically put the whole nib section into that solution. So let's say if this pen were to clog very badly, I would put this whole nib section into the solution and let it soak overnight, and on the next day I will put water into the converter and flush out the ink. And so far the cleaning solution has worked all the time, so it's really good. So that's all for the maintenance part. Okay, right now I'm going to give you some recommendations on fountain pens to get. All these fountain pens here you see they cost under $50 each. So when you're starting out, do not spend too much on fountain pens because you just want to get a hang of how a fountain pen works, and you want to try different inks in your fountain pens, and if you damage your fountain pen, it's not that costly. So the first recommendation I would give you is Lamy Safari. So Lamy Safari is a beginner's fountain pen that costs about, I think, under $30. They feature a clip pull type cap with a rubber seal here and inside the cap as well, so the rubber seal will make sure that ink nib does not dry out. The Lamy Safari comes in different colored bodies. You have all the colors from the rainbow as well as this transparent body. I like the transparent body because you can see how much ink is left inside. But for the other Lamy bodies, there's this hole here. Actually, you can see through to the ink converter inside. The pen does not come with a converter, so you have to buy the Lamy converter separately. So that will cost you a bit more. I think it's about $5 to $10. Not too expensive. The pen is about $30, so overall it will still come out to under $50. So these two are some of my earliest fountain pens. They are still working very well today. And if you want to buy two pens, I would suggest getting one in different colors because I bought these two identical bodies. One is a fine nib and one is a extra fine nib. I cannot tell which one has a fine nib and which one has the extra fine nib just by looking at the pens like this. So you might want to get a different colored body if you want to get more than one fountain pen. It makes it easier to differentiate your pens when you're picking up, choosing them for use. This is another good entry-level pen. This is the Platinum Preppy pen, PREPPY. This pen actually uses a disposable cartridge, but as I've mentioned earlier, because the manufacturer for this pen is Platinum, you can buy a Platinum converter for this, so they can fill it up with your own ink, and it will be more cost effective in the long run. I'm not sure how much this one costs, but this is a plastic pen except for the metal nib at the top, and it's rather light. I like it light, and the Lamy Safari is also a bit light weight, so I like this because they are light. This is the Sailor pen. This pen comes with a pair of nibs. This is the full day nib, the one with the bent. Let me show you. the one with the bend, and they also have one that has no bend, just a sharp nib. This is I think the performance it's not as smooth as other pens when compared to other pens. Maybe because this one is really mass manufactured. So this is, maybe you should avoid this. And this is a good pen as well. This is Pilot Prera, Prera. This is a rather short pen, so you can compare the length of the pen. So I have rather small hands. Even this pen feels a bit small, so it's really quite short. But the writing performance for this pen is very good. It's very smooth, and it's also very affordable. It does not come with the ink cartridge. This one is made by Pilot, so it uses a Pilot ink cartridge. So when you're buying a fountain pen, make sure to buy the ink converter for the pen. This one is quite good, but it's a bit short. If you have a small hand, then this could be quite good for you. Another recommendation will be the Hero fountain pen. I'm a bit hesitant to recommend this pen. It's quite cheap actually, under $30. You can find this easily on eBay. Now the reason why I'm hesitant to recommend this pen is because of the manufacturing quality. So I have quite a few Hero pens that broke down after months of use. So this is something to take note. But this one comes with a bent nib, so it's quite fun to draw with. And it's not too expensive, so even if it breaks down, it's not going to break your wallet. So these are the pens that I recommend. My first recommendation would be the Lamy Safari. That will be followed by, I would say, this one, the Pilot Prera, Platinum Preppy, the Hero fountain pen, and the Sailor, my first. Oh, I'd like to show you these two pens as well. These are Fude nib pens. The nibs are bent at different angles. They are made by Sailor, and they do not come with the ink converter, so you need to get the Sailor ink converter for these two pens. They are not too expensive and fun to try with as well. The nib is a steel with gold plated, so quite fun. If you want to buy something, you don't buy so many, just get a Lamy Safari. That will be good enough. I've used this for years and it's very durable. You can even drop it on the ground and it doesn't break because the construction is quite tough. One last thing that you might want to consider getting would be a pen wrap. This is a pen wrap to protect your fountain pens. I have this to put my fountain pens, so after I put them in, I'll just wrap them up and then throw them into my bag. It offers good protection. You can find this from $5 onwards, even to more expensive one like leather and all the fancy stuff, but just get a simple one will do, so to protect your fountain pens. I think that's all for this video. If you have any questions regarding fountain pens for drawing, feel free to post them in the comments section below, or if you want to find out what pens that I use to draw, maybe I'll do a separate video for that as well. Remember to subscribe to my channel because I will be posting more videos on art and drawing in the future. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you for watching.